Hello, good evening, friends. I hope you all are prospering in your respective lives with full valor. So, here is Kunal Nagpal, and I feel extremely proud to address you once again on a very, very significant topic I read in the newspaper today morning. That is from Global High Table to Voice of Global South. India's wide G20 plan. What are the main focus areas for G20 presidency? That is the Voice of Global South. Firstly, showcasing the areas of high credibility, that is public digital infrastructure, public pharmacy, and a robust financial inclusive model. Second is areas of global influence, that is the lifestyle for environment, that is LIFE. Then comes the climate finance, energy transition, and women-led development. Third is talk of the future, that is institutional reforms for 21st century, handling the debt crisis. And lastly comes India's G20 presidency to be action and outcome oriented, to position Indian model for the potential solution of issues and development. What are the preparations going on? 13 working groups formed under Sherpa track to oversee the content, each group to prepare the issue notes that will translate into outcome documents to form the basis of G20 negotiations. Besides the meetings of foreign ministers and line ministers, 11 engagement groups, central bank governors, and the basic agenda that they hold for the meetings to be held. 200 meetings to be held across 56 locations in India before the actual summit. Outreach programs, activities like beach and coastal cleaning, showcasing green building, cultural exhibition, waste recycling, health camps, tech hackathon, promoting Rupee cards in diaspora. Two exhibitions in Delhi, that is India as the mother of democracy and digital transformation. What are the tastes of culture and cuisine? G20 mugs in the basic Madhubani art, then chikrkari on dockets, bags of Sholapur sheets. Then comes the local cuisine. So, what are the main highlights of the upcoming G20 summit? The Narendra Modi government basically plans to showcase the Indian model of development for the country's unique and significant achievements, such as leadership in fintech, and emphasize its position as a as a shaper of agendas with a seat at the global high table, but also a voice of the global south in India's first G20 presidency. People familiar with the matter said. In 200 plus meetings across 56 cities, New Delhi will basically demonstrate the country's successes, such as its public digital infrastructure, its generics industry's role as the pharmacy of the world, and its robust financial inclusion model. The people added, listing in detail for the first time the country's plans for its G20 presidency, which basically commences on 1st December and ends in September 2023. It will also push its agenda on lifestyle for environment, that is LIFE, first mentioned by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the climate conference in 2021 and launched by him and the United Nations chief this year. Climate financing, energy transition, and women led development, as quoted by us in the beginning of this session. We want the G20 presidency to be action and outcome oriented. Our focus will be these issues. We want to reach high level principles. The major decisions taken earlier will continue, but we will try to marry them with the new innovations. We want to position the Indian model for the potential solution of issues in development, said one of the people cited above. The government will also showcase the country's soft power, a dose of culture, a taste of cuisine, and excursions to the places of historical interest. What are the top objectives? India, the people added, sees an opportunity in the fact that its G20 presidency comes amid a global geopolitical and economic crisis. It also comes against the backdrop of the India's crucial role in driving the consensus at the Bali summit of the G20, where, according to a second person, 15 rounds of ministerial meetings failed before India stepped in. Paragraph 3 of the Bali Declaration on the Russian aggression in Ukraine was an outcome of the intervention. The G20 Declaration 2022, drafted by the Indian Sherpa, adopted in Bali last week, was basically copied verbatim by the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, that is APEC, leaders on their stand on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Amitabh Kant, the G20 Sherpa for India, said, "This is the first time India is going to set the agenda for the world. I repeat, this is the first time India is going to set the agenda for the entire world. So far, we were basically reacting to the agendas being received from the developed world. Now, India is the creator for the entire world. So it holds a deep strategic responsibility. Now, the leadership is getting transferred to a developing country. So therefore, while we look at the world, it is important to bring it in Indian narrative. Some unique things have basically happened to India, such as the digital transformation, which is very distinct from what the West has done. We have also done a unique story on the health as the pharmacy of the world," he added. The G20 countries basically account for 85% of the global GDP, 60% of the world's population, and 75% of all trade. New Delhi basically plans to hold the most inclusive meetings with over 800 special invitees from Bangladesh, Egypt, Nigeria, Oman, Singapore, Mauritius, Netherlands, Spain, and United Arab Emirates, international bodies, and business leaders. New Delhi also faces the key challenges. The climate crisis is basically accelerating. COVID-19 and the Ukraine-Russia war have basically meant a setback to the Sustainable Development Goals. I repeat, COVID-19 and the Ukraine-Russia war have meant a setback to the Sustainable Development Goals for the entire global economy, and the pandemic has pushed 300 million people back into poverty for the Indian economy. Many countries face a debt crisis resulting in food and energy crisis, and mind you, poverty has basically become a very, very big ailment for major economies across the globe. But the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is clear. This is an opportunity for India to drive the consensus, said Mr. Kant. The Modi government, however, brings with it a massive scale of operations and an inenviable track record in the delivery of the public goods, the people explained. The country's economy will basically remain the fastest growing among the major economies in 2022-23 and 2023-24, according to the IMF. India is also a global fintech leader, and it basically boasts the world's third largest startup ecosystem. What a great achievement! We are the fast emerging as a tech garage of the world, Mr. Kant added. This is a great moment of pride, worth a great felicitation, and the overall global recognition. What comes in background operations? Aware that not all G20 presidencies have been impactful, India has already set up its G20 Secretariat in the well-equipped Sushma Swaraj Bhavan in South Delhi. There are nearly 13 working groups under the Sherpa track, and each group will basically prepare the issue notes that will translate into the outcome documents. Those outcome documents will form the basis of the negotiations that go for the next few months and will ultimately lead to the leaders' declaration, said the first official. There will also be the meetings of foreign ministers and line ministers. A total of 11 engagement groups, finance ministers, and the cultural bank governors will meet separately in about 8 meetings. The ministries have already been assigned their tasks. The issue of anti-corruption is being handled by the DOPT, and agriculture, culture, tourism, health, education, labor and employment, and climate change by the respective ministries. The overall agenda of the development is being driven by the External Affairs Ministry, that for the digital economy by the MEITY, that is MEITY, disaster management by NDMA, trade and investment by the Commerce Ministry, and energy transition by the Power Ministry. All their inputs will basically come to the G20 Secretariat, and we will then circulate the issue papers, added the first official. The basic engagement groups have been formed for the subjects such as business, startups, women, science, and urban development. We are moving from being a contributor of agenda to a shaper of the agenda. I repeat, we are being from a contributor of the agenda to a shaper of the agenda. What a great moment of pride. There are the areas where India wants to help build consensus, said the second person. Now, what is the taste of India? The 200 plus meetings over the next 1 year will basically provide an opportunity for the participants and delegates to discover India to its fullest, the people said. The G20 Secretariat has basically planned outreach activities and include beach and coastal cleaning, showcasing green building, cultural exhibition, waste recycling, health camps with a focus on Ayurveda and traditional medicine, technology, handloom, showcasing the millets and food, and promoting rupee cards among the diaspora. The two exhibitions are to be held in Delhi during the G20 summit next year. India, as the mother of democracy and a very vibrant democracy across the globe, that is the country's rapid digital transformation. There are 4 billion people in the world without a digital ID. We have made 50 years of progress in 7 years of digital transactions. What we are trying to showcase is the Indian model for the financial inclusion can be implemented globally, said the first official. The government also aims to make the experience a spiritually elevating, culturally enriching, and mentally rejuvenating. The meetings will be held across India in large cities, but also the ones off the beaten track, such as Imphal, Kohima, Leh, Port Blair, Siliguri, Agartala, Gangtok, Shimla, Rishikesh, Aizwal, and Agartala. All these meetings will basically give the dignitaries and the visitors a chance to take local cuisine and experience Indian cultural programs. What a great agenda India has for the upcoming G20 summit to be commenced on 1st December till September 2023. So, on this note, I would like to end today's session. I hope it has been of great productivity to all you people. So, take good care of yourselves. See you soon. Goodbye.